Although Poland hosts one of the tiniest Muslim minorities in the whole world, you have Muslim families who have been settled in Poland since the 14th century. So it is at the same time one of the oldest Muslim minorities in Europe. Hello and welcome. My name is William, and today I wanted to share with you about Muslims in my parents' country, Poland. When I embraced Islam in 2008, my parents would still go to Poland, visit family. I needed to figure out where I'm gonna pray, where I'm gonna find a mosque or halal meat. Then I stumbled upon the Wikipedia page and I thought to myself, I didn't know that, and I want to tell the world about this. I decided back then to produce my very first documentary, which you can find for free on YouTube, called Polish Muslims: An Unexpected Meeting. Back then, the main right-wing narrative was that Muslims are not welcome in Europe because they were never part of it. They do not belong to Europe. The fact that you have Muslims settled in Poland since the 14th century was a magnificent counter-argument. So when I went to meet Muslims in Poland, I went to 3 different areas. I went, of course, to the capital city, Warszawa. Then I went to Katowice, which is in Śląsk in Silesia, which was a very industrial region of Poland and the birthplace of my dad. Eventually, I went to Białystok in the northeastern part of the country. Muslims in Poland are made of, I would say, 3 main demographics. First, the largest population is made of all different kinds of people who arrived in Poland in the 20th century. So people from North Africa, the Middle East, and later on West Africa, Turkey, now South Asia, and also lots of Muslims coming from the Caucasus, Dagestan, Chechnya, and so on. And thanks to them, Poland has become the first and largest exporter of halal meat across Europe. Second are the numerous Poles who embraced Islam at some point in their lives. Third are the Tatars. So this is the oldest Muslim community in Poland. Tatars are Turkic people who originated from Crimea and came to Poland in the 14th century to offer their military services to the Duke of Poland-Lithuania at the time. So to thank them for their services, the Duke of Poland-Lithuania, Prince Witold, offered the Tatars land and the right to practice their religion. Since then, you will find in the northeastern part of Poland, so around the city of Białystok, mosques and cemeteries which are 300, 400 years old and have a very distinct look. The highlight of my trip was meeting with the Tatars, obviously, because the first thing is when you look at the mosques, the way they are built is very similar to the way people used to build churches. The rituals might differ a little bit from what people are used to see in Western Europe. For example, is the concept of sadoga. I went to Poland for Ramadan and I spent Eid in Poland, and at the time, after the Eid khutbah, people would leave sweets on the minbar, on the mosque, and this is called sadoga, which comes from the word sadaka, you may have guessed. And because of communism, many Tatars had to hide their religiosity, to the point where people even adopted Christian-sounding names to hide. For example, Ali would become Alexander. And like many Muslims you would find in Central Asia, part of the ex-communist bloc countries, for many people, Islam has now become nothing more than a cultural heritage. So you will see people who are proud to be Muslim, but people who are also happy to drink some vodka. And there was a point, because of communism, where these historic mosques would open only 14 times a year, twice for Eid and 12 times for because there was one Juma per month. And thanks to the influx of migrants from the Middle East and other parts of the world, now the younger generations are starting to reconnect with their faith and traditions. So you would see the younger Tatars who wear the hijab, for example, while it was not the case for their parents' generation. When it comes to other groups of Muslims, and because there is very few mosques in Poland, what was heartwarming is, unlike some Western European countries, in the mosque you would find a huge diversity of people from very different cultures, ethnicities, social, economic backgrounds, people speaking all sorts of languages, and the khutbah would be in Polish. Sadly, you will have some political divisions when it comes to the representation of Muslims in Poland, specifically between the Muslim League, which is made of people who mainly arrived in Poland in the 20th century, so the majority group of Muslims, and between the Tatars, who claim a right for representation because they are the oldest demographic of Muslims in Poland. Also, the Tatars are an officially recognized minority by the government, and every year there is a commemoration of their military services to the country. And since I've made my documentary in 2012-2013, things have changed in Poland, and the far right has taken over with a very strong anti-Muslim narrative. And shortly after I left, I read the news and saw the mosques being burned, people being attacked on the streets. So life has become slightly more difficult for Muslims in Poland. One striking example of how people try to go low profile now is this kiosk, this small kebab shop in the center of Warsaw, which was called Salam Aleikum Kebab. And I thought back in the days, that was really a bold idea to call your kebab shop Salam Aleikum Kebab in the middle of Warsaw. And then, so I've returned to Warsaw last year, and in the center of the city, and now Salam Aleikum Kebab has become Hello Kebab. So if you want to know more about Muslims in Poland, I invite you to have a look at this documentary I produced now 10 years ago, which is freely available on YouTube, Polish Muslims documentary. Just type it on YouTube, it will appear. In the meantime, thank you for watching and take care of each other.